between those two?
Well, Ellie and Isabel, thank you so much for inviting me on and talking about this really important topic. So there's a big difference between bipolar and schizophrenia. So bipolar it's a mood disorder. So people have periods of depression, where they obviously have very low moods, and then they also have high moods, which is the moods that often don't get picked up by the GP. So they might experience lack of sleep is a key symptom of that, overspending, hypersexuality as well. So it's a mood disorder, so very different from schizophrenia.
But absolutely life-altering, and I was reading 20 times above the normal suicide rate for people that suffer from bipolar, which is just truly shocking. And if people are waiting 10 years for diagnosis, for treatment, then they've got a high chance then of committing suicide.
It's absolutely horrendous, the figures. So having bipolar increases the risk of suicide by up to 20 times. And we estimate, tragically, there's over 1 million people living with bipolar in the UK, and between about 5 and 12% of all suicides in the UK are by people living with bipolar. And so we estimate it's probably at least one a day, which is a truly horrendous figure. But that figure can be dramatically reduced through medication and specialist treatment and support. So if there's anyone out there on your show now who's living with bipolar, there's huge amounts of hope, and there's so much that we can do to be able to tackle this really big problem.
And how do you manage bipolar if you have it? Is it medication or is it exercise? I mean, what can help you if you have the condition?
Ellie, all of those things really help. So medication has a massive role to play. So for about a third of people, if they take lithium, that pretty much sorts them out. So there's loads of people out there who are living really amazing lives, living with bipolar.
No side effects from that?
They have to have regular blood tests, but they've done it with a dosage now that it's at a much safer level. It had a kind of bad reputation from the 70s, but now it's a lot better. So it's all the psychiatrists and academics that we talk to about this really recommend lithium, and our community also say it has a massive benefit on them. But there's other lifestyle things that can be done to really help people. So sleep is probably the most important thing, and that helps absolutely everyone, regardless of whether they have bipolar or not. So getting the 7 or 8 hours sleep every night. Perhaps doing early morning breakfast shows is probably not the best thing for that.
I'm not in the best way today.
7 hours between us last night, if we were lucky.
You doing the lunch.
But certainly, if you can get enough sleep, that makes a massive difference. But also lifestyle stuff like doing regular exercise, that will help with it. Not having too many changes in your life at any one time. So stress can be a big trigger for people. So don't get married, start a new job, or go on holiday all in the space of a week, which is what I did.
Holiday is stressful.
So, yeah. Well, actually, it is. A lot of people, when they go on long-haul flights, they're not getting the sleep. A lot of excitement can really trigger people. It's a really cruel condition, because often the things that are really good things in people's lives can trigger people to have an episode. So it might be having a baby can be a big trigger for a lot of people. So getting married. Twice as many people were triggered by starting a new job as they were by substance misuse. So it's a real cruel condition, but there's so much that we can do to support people living with it.
And you've surveyed people with the condition, and I found this fascinating. Nearly half of those who have the condition were classed as clinically obese. And lots of them saying that actually ahead of getting access to medication or a psychiatrist, they'd really like access to a PT, personal trainer, to try and help them.
Absolutely. I mean, people with bipolar, a lot of them have to take medication for the condition. They're not able to get the medication reviewed on a regular basis, so they're often taking too much medication, and it means that they put a lot of weight on, which is a really bad side effect. So people with bipolar die on average 10 to 15 years younger than they should do, and a lot of that is from cardiovascular disease. So actually what people want to have is to be supported to be able to manage their weight, and getting regular exercise and be able to have a personal trainer would be a massive benefit to them.
Can I ask you, Simon, I think of Kanye West when I think of bipolar, because we've so publicly seen him having these manic episodes and then these long periods of quiet. People often talk about it being connected with genius, don't they? These manic episodes, and he certainly is very productive and creative during those times. I mean, when you look at Kanye West, do you worry that he's taking his medication, or I just think he's quite a high-profile case study, if you will?
Well, I can't comment on anyone's individual, and I'm not a doctor either, but certainly it's well documented that he's living with bipolar, and there's a clear genius there and a brilliance as well. A lot of people with bipolar experience hypomania, which is it's not quite the same as mania, but people are very super focused. They can be really productive. It's a bit like being on a permanent adrenaline rush for like kind of weeks or months on end.
And they don't sleep or something for days during those periods.
So their sleep patterns will really reduce, and the big risk is that then people tip over into a manic episode and people can experience psychosis and so forth.
And Simon, as you say, I mean, it's cruel, really, for people who live with this condition. It's really debilitating in their lives, but it's also really difficult for their loved ones, for their family, to have to watch somebody go through that. I mean, for people who are perhaps watching at home who know somebody with bipolar, somebody's just tweeted me actually saying they have a loved one with bipolar. How best can they support that person?
So we've got a mood tracker app, so being able to support the loved one with managing the mood is really important. And doing it as a family is really, really vital. So a lot of the lifestyle changes people need to put in place around kind of having a slightly slower pace of life sometimes, going to bed at 10 o'clock, when all your friends are out partying, like doing things like that, which takes quite a lot of self-discipline. So family members be able to support people to make those lifestyle changes can be really important. And then helping people with medication management, helping them spot changes in mood is so important, because one of the crucial things about bipolar is that if you can catch a mood episode from becoming too high or too low earlier, then it has a massive impact in terms of being able to kind of nip it in the bud. So family members have a key role to play. But so does the NHS as well. So